What's up, guys? BSG Trek fan 88
Um,
here. As all of you know, I'm a huge Terminator fan. And of course, Terminator 2, actually, Terminator 1 and 2 are both held in high regards. They will forever be ingrained or engraved in the cinematic world, if you will. They're not going anywhere. They're recognized throughout generation and generation of film reviewer, movie buff, whatever, as excellent films. Are they perfect? No film is perfect, except maybe Jaws and Shawshank Redemption, but those are both based off novels, so they don't really count as being perfect on their own. Anyway, obviously, Terminator Genisys, the next film in the franchise, keeps getting new information put out every month or so, and I'm gonna, read a little bit here. Blah blah blah. Basically, James Cameron has spoken to the director or the writers of the film, and the idea that how they're going to get Arnold into this latest film, I read it and I was like, okay, that works, but your average moviegoer who doesn't know about the Terminator mythos is going to be saying, what the fuck? Now, before I talk about what James Cameron suggested, which is technically true and is a good idea, here was my idea. Obviously, it was a deleted scene in Terminator 3, so it doesn't count, but those of you that know about what I'm going to talk about, hold on a second, okay? Don't start typing in the comments. The Terminator T800 Model 101, also known as Uncle Bob, is a T800 endoskeleton cyborg with human skin grown from Cyberdyne or from Skynet, and put on the Terminator, the T800. Looks human, sweat, bad breath, everything, including the fact that the skin will heal over time. A lot of people think it's just skin. It's just fake or realistic. No, it literally will heal itself. It requires nutrients. In fact, in Terminator 1, 2, and 3, in fact, in Terminator 3, when Arnold picks up some of the candy bars, it was in the script for him to eat them to fuel his system, to help him rebuild and regenerate some of his cybernetic components. But anyway, theoretically, this skin was based off of a profile of a human being. And my idea, which I kind of got from the book Terminator 2 Infiltrator, which is a really good book if you're a Terminator fan. There's an FBI or a CIA agent on the tail of John and Sarah Connor, and Skynet bases the T-800 somehow in one of those flukes of fate, if you will, on the same person. With he is the right build, he's the right height for their endoskeleton line, and to say, okay, we'll use this guy. And if they worked that into the script, same thing how Robert Patrick has been approached to be in the next Terminator film to be based off of to base the T-1000 off of, where he's an older guy, he was an athlete when he was younger, he was a runner, and Skynet picks him as the T-1000, but obviously makes him the younger version. That would be fucking awesome. Never gonna happen. So that's my idea, and that's where I kind of thought they were going to go with this. And if they did pick that in any way, shape, or form, I was like, okay, it could be interesting. And even though I know certain movies are going to suck, I never base my review or opinion wholeheartedly until I see the first teaser trailer, until I see the first trailer, and then, of course, I go see the film. This, though, because the Terminator is something, like I said before, it's huge. It's widely known, it's popular, it's respected. The fact that they're going with Terminator 5 after Salvation, that's where I'm kind of like, really? But apparently James Cameron was talking about how, like I was saying before, where the Terminator is a cyborg, it's human skin, it actually requires sustenance, it can heal itself. But he was saying it also ages. So theoretically, maybe Skynet sent a Terminator back in time, or the human resistance sent a Terminator back in time, and it failed. It didn't complete its mission, right? It's stuck there back in 2000 whatever, or 1990 whatever. So it has to wait another 10, 20, or 30 years until it can do something. Or maybe it's just living among human beings, biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. So thus would be the Terminator that I know and love from Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, same model, T800 or 850, whichever school thought you go through. And then it's older. You know, it's been 20, 30 years, and it's still a Terminator. It's still a hyper-alloy combat chassis that is super strong, super fast, well, when I say super, above human speed. You know, it's durable, etc. Everything that Kyle Reese talks about. You know, it doesn't feel pity, remorse, or fear. It absolutely will not stop until you are dead. It just looks old. That would kind of work. I can see them having an older Arnold still be a relentless killing machine. And that's one of the things that people tend to forget about the Terminator, especially for the first film that I recently rewatched with a buddy of mine, because this weekend is the 30th, or, yeah, no, 30th anniversary of the first Terminator. And the Terminator in the first film literally is that will not stop cyborg until you are dead. It is scary. If you have this Arnold-sized muscular robot after you, it doesn't, again, I said this before, it doesn't feel pity. It doesn't feel remorse. It doesn't feel fear. It doesn't give a shit. It's missing an arm. Whatever. It's crawling after you. It could be just the skull, and it will still try and find a way to kill you. You know, horror movies across the board from the 70s and 80s, they always had weaknesses, or there were ways to slow them down. In the Terminator, there is a way to slow them down. But still, to know that this thing is constantly after you and it will not stop, that's pretty fucking scary. But at the same time, if you look at Terminator Genisys, I like the idea of having an older Arnold, and through CG or editing or stuntmen or special effects, make the older Arnold Terminator a badass again. Okay, I can see that, and I can see how they would do it. But the entire time I'd watch the movie, it would be like, it's an older Arnold, you know, and that's what kind of slows me down on this whole theory here. So anyway, this is just a quick update video. It's 10 minutes here. I don't know what Terminator Genisys is going to really be like. I mean, I'll read from one of the many websites right now. Deadline spoke with James Cameron and Terminator producer Galen Hurd, who is really cool, at LA's Egyptian Theater during an event for the 30th anniversary of the Terminator's original release. And while Cameron naturally explained that he was not part of the production in any official capacity, he did give some friendly advice to producer David Ellison. This advice, to recap below, tells us how Arnold Schwarzenegger, in his current age and getup, is set up for not only this Terminator film, but also many others in the future. And I don't know how I feel about that, but this is what James Cameron said, and I quote, "I pointed out that the outer covering of the Terminator was actually not synthetic, that it was organic, and therefore could age. You could theoretically have a Terminator that was sent back in time, missed his target, and ended up in just kind of living out in society. Because he's a learning computer and has the brain of a central processor, he could actually become more human as he went along with getting discovered. This type of stuff," and this is end quote, "this type of stuff you integrate into a film like Terminator Genisys if you want to keep your fans around, as well as the lead actor that made the series what it was 30 years ago, but has undeniably aged since that time. That is not to say that Schwarzenegger looks all horrible in his advancing age, which is true. Arnold is, I think, 67 or something like that. I could be wrong. He doesn't look bad, but it's one of those things where because he was a bodybuilder, because he had a lot of muscle mass, and he still does for his age, I wouldn't want to fuck with Arnold. He could easily knock people out, but he just doesn't look anywhere near what I consider the pinnacle of the Terminator, which is Terminator 2. That's not to say that Schwarzenegger looks all the terrible for his age, but with a preconceived and heavily trafficked notion that robots don't age due to synthetic skin, this is the simplest and best explanation to why Arnold would look a bit aged. On the side note, this could also explain how the series is being reset, and this new T-800's existence outside the traditional span of events would change the time stream irrevocably? Whatever. So it's nice to see that James Cameron actually kind of had some input. I'm sure he had something to say about the film in private. Personally, Excuse me, there's yawn here. Ow. I'm the kind of guy where I think they should have stopped at Terminator 2. That's it. I'll say that right now. Terminator 3 has its weak spots and does have quite a few good spots, or high moments, high spots. Salvation has maybe 1 or 2 moments where I chuckled or smirked or smiled. 90% of the film, I keep saying in my Terminator videos, I've never left a theater more angry than with that movie. There's a lot of respect and gratitude that goes into the first and second Terminator. And unfortunately, like with the mini series these days, Hollywood is just doing anything it can to make money. They're running out of ideas, they're rehashing old ones, they don't care what fans think. Hardcore fans. They just want to make something like that has a popular name, like the Terminator series, and just produce a new film. And I could be wrong on this. You know, a year from now or 2 years from now, Terminator Genisys might come out, and I'm going to make a video and say it was fucking awesome. And I would actually love if that was the case. But going off all the info, which I'm not going to recap here, research it yourself, Google it. I don't know. I honestly don't know where this film's going to go. Am I happy as a Terminator fan to go to the theater and see a Terminator film on the big screen? Of course I am. You know, I broke the bucket list finally 2 years ago, or a year and change ago, when I saw Terminator 2 on the big screen, and that was fun. I saw Terminator 3 5 times in theaters just because I was a lot younger, and it was the first new Terminator film, and fuck yeah, I'm going to go see multiple copies of it. And then I saw Salvation, saw it once, watched it once on Blu-ray at home, and that's it. Literally, it has no rewatchability to me. I don't know what's going to happen with it. Part of me likes the idea of where they're going, but given the nature of Hollywood and all that entails these days, they could very, very, very easily fuck it up, more so than they did Salvation. And I know these, you know, my vocabulary here and my sense of style, it's just basic. I'm just doing a vlog here, and I'm not cutting the different film clips and pictures. That's because the Terminator series, my mouth is dry, the Terminator series 1 and 2 specifically, hold a very special place in my heart. You know, everybody has a favorite film. Everybody has a film or a movie that they always constantly go to, or that they love and know everything about, whether it's Jaws, Shawshank, Fight Club, Titanic, a Star Trek film, Star Wars. Mine is Terminator 2. And, you know, it's one of those films, like the others that I just listed, where there are reasons why I love this film, but most importantly, there are reasons why everybody else understands why I love this film and the 2 films in the franchise. So to see my favorite franchise or movie series kind of fucked with, it just pisses me off. I mean, if you look at Terminator 1 and 2, some argue the first one, this is the last I'll say, this video is almost over. Some argue that the first film is better and superior, and I can agree with it, but my favorite movie is Terminator 2. It's a different kind of film. It's the first and best example, maybe besides Aliens, that proves that a sequel can be better than the first. But of course, you're always going to have those people that love the first one more than the second. Whatever, to each his own. Coming off of what the last great film was, which was Terminator 2, you would think that they would say, okay, this is something special. Let's make this a movie worth seeing. And Terminator 3, you know, directed by John Mostow, it was 2003? Whatever year it was, you know, it wasn't bad. In my opinion, it was good. It just lacked story. You know, Terminator 2 is 2 hours and 18 minutes or so long, and it's not all action. It's also part story. Whereas Terminator 3 was action, action, action. Oh, a little bit of story, action, action. People we don't care about, action. Terminator Salvation, I'm not even gonna fucking talk about that movie. And it's just, I just get the feeling that with the way Hollywood is going, the next Terminator movie is going to be all action and no sustenance. So anyway, BSG Trek for an idiot here. Have a good night. See you.